right, welcome back for more. The afternoon paint-a-thon. So I moved from an area that had significantly lighter cloth to an area that probably the kind of a mid-range value. So the darks are deeper, and I probably won't be touching up the lighter areas of the cloth because this value here will be enough to keep that up as a foundation for value underneath the final painting. So let's get some of these darker values blocked in. Thanks for being here. As always, if you have questions, please drop them in the comments, and I'd be happy to address them. And I never really start in anywhere particular except where just something just strikes me. So for some reason, it's right here. Gotta keep it fun and spontaneous, as my friend David was just talking about. Gotta keep some level of spontaneity and surprise and enjoyment, so that it doesn't become tired and scheduled and or so much of just the same old. You can definitely get stuck in a rut of method, and so I think it's always fun to challenge that. Sean's out right now for a bit, running an errand, but he should be back before long, and we'll have someone monitoring the stream. So drop in your questions and hang out. Yeah, these are deep, dark values here. It's one of those things that'll actually look really good when we compare the handling of the paint from one character to the next, where the lightest points on this red fabric or this blue fabric are more of the mid-range value on the white fabric. Those are the things you get excited about. So, getting those local values right so that the rest ends up working well. Well, the kids are up from nap, I can hear. David, would you be willing to go assess that situation for me? Thanks. Is everyone alive?
What?
Everyone alive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's awake.
Okay.
Even Anna.
Okay.
That's what they said. They told me they were like, no one's sleeping. But they did say if I need that room, they would let me have it.
You're like, I've got a meeting. Yes, there are many rooms at the house, which we figure out where David has to have his meetings and so forth. Blocking in. This does help me later, even though these areas would be somewhat, pretty much unfinished, right? Even when I start to render in a more final, with more finality, some of the other areas, the fact that I at least have these values in here, I can begin judging the overall look of the piece. It does still help me get there. Honestly, one of the hardest things about painting, live streaming at the same time is just my lack of access to kind of the long view. I just sort of blocked in here all my materials. So that's why I do miss stepping back and seeing how it's taking in the whole, seeing how it's coming. Really tough to do. But then just continuing to trust, okay, yeah, I'm putting in the right information. So it's just a matter of getting in there, trusting it, and finishing it up. There's some deep dark reds that are going to go over some of the black that I'm putting down, and it's going to look really nice. Use that alizarin crimson and burnt sienna in the black, which is very essentially the color that I'm laying down now. Get to kind of watch that all turn out. Probably what I'll do soon as this is done, is begin working on Mary's face up here and Mary's hands, because those have had the longest time to dry, and they are essentially ready for the next layer of paint. There's times in which I just like to have a few spots like that done. It just gives me a little more energy to keep going. You get a nice, good part. If you're having a rough time in a painting when you're working on it, and you're just like, oh, I just can't keep going, I want to quit. It's always nice to have a few areas that you're just really, really happy with. So that'll be after this layer will be that goal, just to make that part that I'm very satisfied with, so that when I start slowly working through this drapery, which, you know, we've been going at it pretty quickly, you know, as soon as it is all the way to you know, to render level, I'm going to need a few areas that I just really love in the painting that can kind of sustain me through some of the other areas that just feel tiresome. And there you go. Always be prepared. At some point I'm going to do a video on the overall creative experience and what it means to go through that and to come out on the other side, and ways in which you can prevent some of the letdown when you get finished, because there's always letdown when you get finished. I hate to admit it, but even when you think, oh, surely this artist or that artist never feels the letdown when they finish. They're excited and they're satisfied with their piece, completely satisfied. And I regret to say that feeling of frustration, or there's always just a little bit of that present at the end, and so there's ways to kind of prepare for that. So at some point I'm going to share a video on the best practices there, and to just know the process of creating in general. If you know what to expect each time, it can feel less destructive, or even just a little less painful. I start out pretty excited by each piece I'm going to make and really confident. And usually by the end, I'm kind of getting to a point where I've completed it and I'm excited about it, except it's just a little bit less than the vision that I had in the beginning. And that always provides some level of disappointment. How was the post office?
It was good. It cost more money to send that than that other box we sent. It was $5.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Cost of doing business.
Now I gotta find theirs. Where's the receipt?
was beatboxing in the band because I couldn't get the radio to work, so that was pretty cool. Did you know that song that you were singing? The If You Wanna Be
Yeah.
My Friend, You Gotta Get With
No.
My Friends. What?
I can't.
No, that song, but it also is like the same beat to Go Tell It on the Mountain.
Oh yeah. No.
It is.
No. Slower.
Just let me have this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I can see it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that validation.
I mean, I always like to make musicals up when I drive, because I don't have to ever put the radio on these days, since January. That's pretty good.
Thank you. If you wanna be my
Hey.
friend.
Yeah.
Oh, that yeah, but I was redoing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. they
Making
were-
my own thing.
If you wanna be a swan,
I swan.
gotta fly through the sky.
that melody is probably, like,
Used a lot.
well even. I mean, there's even like I know that, gosh, there's been lawsuits over certain chord progressions.
Yeah. I hear it happens a lot to like Christian music, where popular bands will take Christian music chords, but it also happens vice versa. Christian music takes
Vice versa.
vice versa, vice versa, vice versa.
Vice versa.
Oh, I don't remember what was there was a kind of a recent one with Tom York, and I don't remember who it was. So I shouldn't even bring it up since I don't remember the names involved. But
How does Weird Yankovic, like, how does he get away with it?
I'm sure he. It's well or no or it's already kind of discussed. Hey, I presume I'm gonna do this, and
it will get you fame.
um,
But this song
probably doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
Or else it does, because people are like, I don't like that guy. I'm never gonna listen to anything that he ever does again. And you're like, that song sounds just like it.
All I know is, I definitely had a Weird Al tape growing up, for sure. It was during Michael Jackson's Bad. Yeah. Yeah, but his version was I'm Fat. And there was a lot of other songs, like, so the tape, of course, parodies many songs. And so it's interesting that, those are the ones that end up sticking when everybody's getting made fun of. From like, I Think We're Alone Now, to George Harrison's Got My Mind Set on You, to, just one swift look at that album, you'd be able to figure it all out. Yeah, totally definitely was one of those kids that thought it was so awesome and clever.
So bringing it back to like painting, so that's musical arts, taking ideas from other people. How does copyright work in art when somebody takes like the Mona Lisa and changes it to like a popular version? So
They send you a
Sure.
spam email that you think is real, and then you
That's
open
true.
it up and it downloads a file onto the computer, and you're
That's
really
true.
glad that you don't unzip the file.
yeah, that
That's
happened?
true.
Yeah, you were here when that happened.
Oh yeah.
Do you not pay attention to things at all?
But that was the website and image use. Talking
Um,
about a painter actually
yeah.
taking another person's art and
So art is like this big theft thing. Everyone just takes everyone else's ideas and runs with it, and I think there's some level of acceptance with that. Now, at the same time, I'm sure there's plenty of things that you can't do, and there's still things that things that are public domain because they're a certain age. Yeah, it's all kinds of. Hopefully, you're not just recreating the Mona Lisa and saying, hey, this is my piece. I mean, I don't think anyone's trying to do that. And I think in general, no one is trying to just blatantly make a piece. I mean, I say no one, I'm sure this is happening somewhere, but, and to some artists. Not me, thankfully. And then just trying to make money off of claiming, that this is theirs, or selling reproductions of it. Man, I just, I don't know how it works. So, but I do know there's a lot of just, what's the old sayings, artist theft or something like that. I don't remember. Is it Picasso?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one has a true idea.
Yeah.
Or original idea, usually.
So, so like, for instance, this composition is new. No one has ever made this exact composition, but the Annunciation scene has been depicted so many times throughout history. Like, you more or less are, there are repeated themes here, and various symbols that exist in all Annunciation paintings. So
Yeah. Main graphic design is pretty much just
You're a graphic designer.
mimic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in this day and age, art in general, like, it's hard to do something original. Do you know that most fashion is uncopyrighted, so that the fashion industry needs to grow more, so they uncopyright it? So, like, an Instagram influencer can create something of their own, like fashion, and then like Target can take it, or Old Navy can take it and then make their own, and it's not, you can't sue them.
Hey, question.
Yeah.
Joy Becker Pottery, is that professional fees?
No. I don't know why that's in there.
Bill us an email.
Okay. Then no, yeah, that's just me buying art. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Artist by art.
So take that out.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you have a better appreciation for this art when you're an artist? Art of different form? Do you buy old?
Man, Anna came in killing it. She says Ecclesiastes, there's nothing new under the sun.
There you go.
Everything is meaningless.
David,
That's
bud.
Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
come on, bud.
Everything is meaningless.
Yeah, but you said
Uh,
that with such degradation.
Such just personal.
Disdain.
Yeah. Well, not that. Just there's a level of darkness and to that.
I mean, so is the guy who's writing it.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Ezekiel? I'm reading Ezekiel right now. Dang, there is some
Some stuff in there.
weird things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the person has to do even. The whole sit on your side for like 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if God asked me to do something like that. Would it be like, oh, I'm good. I don't need to prove a point to these people. I can probably tell them. Prophets.
So welcome back, Anna. Good to have you again. Thanks for coming back. I was trying to get my my boy down for nap. Didn't really happen. Tried. I mean, he's older now, but he's not feeling as good. He's got a little bit of a cough, and so trying to help him out. get better soon. That sort of a thing. He's not helping himself. That's for sure.
How do you pronounce Qoheleth?
Oh yeah, I forget, it's Koheleth or yeah, it's the name of the teacher, or the person in Ecclesiastes who is
Man, dude, Anna's killing it.
who is the it's kind of like a character. So I've heard it said that this person is not a person, but it's a bit of a kind of a character who is attempting to kind of bring about this this wisdom. And yeah, there's some stuff. There's some good stuff. There's also some very dark stuff. 100%.
So kind of like Job in the way that it's done like a play.
To a degree, it's like the writer makes a character who is, I suppose, the narrator who is looking out on all this. But yeah. For those of you who came for painting, maybe I should talk about. So you can see, like, I do want to get a little bit underneath. This area here is going to be a blue drapery and then a red. I'm probably going to leave the brown. That's going to be enough for these lighter reds to go on top of. But probably with this thinner weave linen that I'm working on, I'm gonna just cover up this just a little bit, even though I'm nearly making the same value here. And I think it'll help when I'm putting that layer on in the end, final layer.
I think we can kind of just talk about whatever Anna wants to, because she's the only one here.
That's probably true.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but if somebody listens to this later,
They might be interested in what we have to say.
True.
Or you can talk about art. That's probably important.
darker. And this color is gonna be blue, correct?
Yeah, this is the blue that's going to be here. So I thought, if I can cover just a little bit on some of the lighter areas that are in the light, perhaps it won't be as that red won't shine through quite as much, or that what ends up looking kind of reddish underneath.
Yeah.
And,
Won't taint the blue.
yeah, as much. So
Majestic.
so here are the lilies right here that I'm going to work on probably just as soon as I wrap this up. So I had kind of a weird in-between thing happening where, like, the edge of the lily was touching the edge of Mary's garment here, and a lot of times you just want to be careful because you still want to be telling about space. And one of the simple ways to describe space is by overlapping. I know that might seem kind of crude, like, you mean just putting something in front of something else? I was like, well, yes, because it does tell us kind of where that exists in space. And so I was like, I elongated some of the fabric here to kind of go back farther behind, even though it came back in here. And that was just a compositional decision, because I think it'll cause less confusion ultimately in the end. So that's just one of those times and places where, I'm thinking beyond just, okay, I've got a source and I'm working on it, but I'm thinking more as like, how do I make this as accessible as possible for the people who are viewing it. I don't want to lose anybody because something seems off or something seems weird. So, I'll go to great lengths to include most fingers, or I will try to overtell with information, almost give too much, just so that there are none of those moments in which we're saying, well, that looks kind of strange, or I'm not sure that works. And I'm just trying to avoid all that, because I've always said that the burden of proof is on the painter or the artist, and you've got to describe it in such a way that it works as a painting. So before I even begin, I'm thinking, how is this going to be as a painting? I'm not trying to think of it as, oh, here's a photograph. That just immediately translates one-to-one, because it doesn't. And a lot of times, you'll see a painting choice made, and it's just, and you say, well, that's really unsettling. Not because maybe the painting is handled really well, because a lot of times it is. Really, a lot of good artists out there. But, does it work as a painting within the canon of art history? Where does it fall? How are you using the elements that you have to create something that is both accessible, it's acknowledging your place in art history, but then also is its own unique thing. And I guess that's kind of ties into our conversation about copyright and art. Just I 100%. Anyone looking at this piece when it's done is going to say, well, if you've had some art education, you're going to say, okay, I see this this kind of Italian influence, and I kind of get what they're going for, what the artist is going for, and that hopefully reads and works with the rest of the space, which the client tried to make the Italian church kind of look within their home. I'm just trying to kind of double down on that. So again, the imagery, everything else is working together within the space where it is going to sit and communicate, and I hope inspire. And nothing is kind of getting in the way of that. So a little even decision about putting something in front of the other is, I think, a great way to say, you're making this unique piece, and wherever you're doing it along the way, you can make numerous decisions, move something off to the side if it helps, place something in front of something else. There are just lots of options. Yeah, one of my favorite writers, C.S. Lewis, he'd talk about like originality, and he'd say, there's kind of so much focus on trying to be original, and his thing was like, man, getting caught up in that is a really bad trap, because to a degree, kind of, Anna, like you said, there's really nothing new, and the pursuit of trying to do something new or different really can end up, I don't know, it's kind of a fruitless search. Whereas, kind of Lewis would say, just start doing the sorts of things you're into doing. Make the things you're interested in making. Don't, don't concern yourself with it. And, sure, if it looks like what someone else has done, okay, that's fine. It's like, but if you just kind of continue on that honest journey of creating the things that you want to make, even if you love a particular writer or you love a particular artist, you will, as in his words, 9 times out of 10, arrive at something wholly unique and quote unquote original. Not because you were trying to make it so, because you were just creating and letting those inspirations drive you. So I love those words. I could probably find that quote more specifically online. If you
You
look
want me to find it?
yeah, probably C.S. Lewis on originality or something like that.
Also, Brock's here.
Barack, good to have you.
Man, it must be like 2 o'clock in the morning there.
Yeah, what are you up to at this hour?
Is it the No Man Who Values Originality?
I think so.
Or there's another one by him, Even in Literature and Art. So there's this one, and it's Even in Literature and Art, no man who bothers about originality will ever be original. Whereas if you simply try to tell the truth without caring 2 pence how often it has been told before, you will 9 times out of 10 become original without ever having noticed it.
100%. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Lewis, for that one. Whew.
He's a smart dude.
It's good.
Everything that I've ever read by him I have to read like 4 times. So it makes it smart for me. Because he's the one who wrote like Mere Christianity and
Yeah, Mere Christianity and, I mean, numerous things.
super smart guy.
The Great Divorce,
Mm-hmm.
Chronicles of Narnia.
You excited to read Chronicles of Narnia to your kids?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
When do you think you're gonna do that?
Oh, I think Ernest is about the age where he could handle it. I'd like to do it together, though, so I may wait till Mary just gets a couple more years on her. I think I messaged, I don't remember what their name was on YouTube that we had the kind of long conversation with about him wanting to
That girl?
tell yeah. I think we connected on Instagram, I think. So I definitely told him we were at it again. So hopefully he'll drop by. Want to see how it's going. See if there's any new developments.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happened. I gotta fix this chair.
Hey, we fixed an ignition switch on a car.
Yeah, we did.
Come on.
I think we could easily fix a ignition spring in a chair. I have no idea if that's what it's called. I doubt it. But
Sounded good in the moment.
Yeah, it sounded great. Alright, so I redid the thumbnails for the other videos, so they're
Sweet.
1280 by 720.
Thanks.
And I did all most of the other stuff that you wanted me to do.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
I gotta call Honda.
Let's say whichever dealership is nearest. Is this not the most exciting channel you've ever watched, where people are talking about taking their cars in for recalls and fixing
I can
cars?
talk about
And
exciting things if I want to. I have a lot of needless information about things that I'm excited about. I have no idea if anybody else would be excited about it. Schofield Honda looks like it's the closest.
probably.
Brock, you still here?
How you doing?
Count on one person to keep this conversation going. It's usually you. No, you know, no pressure, but you're one of the things that makes this channel go. Other than the arts. The art's a big thing too.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, without the art, it's basically just a podcast.
Podcast that's not a podcast.
I can make a podcast. Maybe. I could talk about things. Do you guys know that the Australian government lost a war to emus back in the 40s? 50s? The Great Emu War of Australia? They had 2 casualties. And they sent the military in because they were destroying a bunch of the crops. And Australia's already super cropless because they're a desert. So their export of crops is a big deal. So all the farmers got together and they went to war against the emus, but they didn't have the guns or the weaponry to do it, so they called in the military. And the military was just like, yeah, whatever. So they sent in 1 jeep, 2 military men, and a 50 caliber machine gun, 10,000 rounds. But at this point, the emus were upwards of 10,000, and it took. I mean, you'd have to hit them, and they can run 30, 40 miles an hour, and they can take more than 1 50 caliber bullet. So it took way more than they thought it was going to even try to diminish the numbers. And one time there was they all ran at the jeep and knocked the jeep over and flipped the jeep and killed one of the guys. So the Great Emu War had 1 casualty and they lost. And the thing that ended up allowing them to win and make sure the emus couldn't keep destroying the crops was they just built better fences. That was the culmination of everything. The military came in, lost, farmers lost, and all it took was just fixing some fences. So that was pretty interesting. Also, if anybody wants to hear about Hollow Earth, I have information about that. Also, Hollow Moon, I have information about that. Planet X, I have information about that. The crack epidemic, information about that. Dulce Base, the Denver International Airport.
Sean's basically admitting that he's one of those guys.
I'm crazy. Yeah. Or am I not crazy and everybody else is crazy? Should I have been wearing those aluminum hats like the children at the church? Probably. Is the government trying to read my minds? Probably not. But also it's all a possibility. Military's done some messed up stuff, like Bay of Pigs in Costa Rica? No. just across the Gulf. But war on drugs, interesting stuff. Cartels, super interesting. NASA. NASA, actually, the only reason they're around is to guard the entrances to Hollow Earth.
Science or?
No, it was a pencil that fell off the thing. But I put it there earlier, but I don't know how it fell off.
Vince threw something at you to stop you from talking about Hollow Earth.
No, I can see him on the camera. If he did, then I would have.
Oh, well, 100% did.
Dodged.
Dang, dude.
I threw it behind.
Look how much.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Was you?
Oh, you did? Oh.
Is it this cap or the pencil?
Oh.
Fine. I'm just trying to have fun. That's not bad.
So have you done this style before where you paint the highlights and the darks prior to painting the colors, or is this how you always work?
Quite a bit. I mean, when it comes to so this grain of linen on this canvas is there is very very little tooth to it, which is nice. So it's a nice smooth surface. However, because of that, it requires a little more layering than other forms. And so I do have to provide a little more underneath in order for me to achieve that. Otherwise, I mean, I was like, yeah, I could probably make it work with a little bit of impasto, but
Would you describe what impasto was?
Is that
Sure.
pasta?
yeah, basically.
Impasta.
You get inside of pasta.
I've heard some people
Like I was not even
pronounce
following
the
you.
A different, so some say impasto, some say impasto. It is basically thick paint, more or less. So where you're really getting some of that paint body and paint texture remaining on there. So that's another great thing about oil is that you can get enough on there that you can just kind of keep piling it on, and you can cover up areas that you want, disappointed in that or what have you.
Would you like us to move the camera? Since right now.
You're painting lower down?
I'm gonna hop back around,
Okay.
so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I just was like, I don't see a brush at all.
It's happening.
Is it harder when it's impasta?
Impasto.
Impasto. Is it harder to blend and?
Oh,
Does it give that transparency?
oh no, yeah, it's about just sheer. I mean, you go to your impressionist section of your art museum, and, you're gonna find just the thick strokes, which I work pretty thinly, so it just doesn't really happen in my work. And I'll probably build up a little bit of the impasto on certain highlights. So in painting something like this, it's valuable to do because you can create a slight a slightly different paint plane of paint. So you got your 2D surface, but if I build this up a little bit, turn my hand like this, you can see how much more light I can get when it catches. Now these pieces are actually going to be illumined from below, and on kind of a rim light. I'm really excited that they will be illumined. That's always when possible, if the painting can be lit, even if you buy a painting and install it in your home, if you can have a light on it, it just really changes and allows for some of those cool effects to be seen, even if they're not wholly perceived. I was talking about the way light travels through oil and is hitting those pieces of lead crystal or marble in this medium. Those are exciting things. Just glows. Oil paintings, they just can glow if treated in the right way. So being a lover, painter of light, it's kind of why the medium attracts me so much. And no offense to all other painting mediums. As I've already stated, regarding watercolor, you got the hardest one. I'm not trying to say otherwise. But all right, that is the blue fabric on that side. Just tell a little bit more, describe a couple more of these shadow areas here in the red. What did you find out on that recall, Sean?
Recall. Oh, you gotta go. Give it. I was gonna wait a little bit for the live stream, but I'll just go downstairs and do it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
It's okay, I can watch this. Brock and Anna. Sorry. How long do you expect this painting to take?
I don't know. I never know.
What time do you want to take this in?
Doesn't matter. I mean, if they can do it today, it would need to be right away. You'd have to work that out with Anna. Two of you drop it off. Tomorrow will be difficult. So basically, I'd say go talk with Anna and figure out a time that works.
I find the hardest part of this streaming thing not being able to sing.
Sure, David likes to sing.
Katie.
And we may, I mean, you know, it's clear this is not exactly hard-hitting, exciting stuff for people, you know, like this stage. But I guess I more or less want to still describe it because, I mean, you got to know, you know, if you want the results, this is how it begins. So,
Time consuming.
yeah.
But it's cool to see the beginning to the end.
Yeah. So, and I think that's more because in the end, we'll compile all these and piece it together and let it be kind of viewed all at once.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I've got a little bit of impatience with people's kind of unwillingness to kind of sit through and understand. Just in that, you know, not everything, well, frankly, most things are not instant. And I don't know, I think culturally, we're kind of stuck on this instant gratification thing. And it's got to come now or it's got to come soon. It's just not the way anything meaningful works. It just doesn't come about that way. You know, days, you know, if we get to the face tomorrow or something like that, probably not. We're swiftly running out of time. But if we do, then
When you start blocking in the colors.
yeah,
That's exciting.
that's exciting. Yeah, right. Because I was like, whoa, this is kind of going from nothing to something.
Yeah, it looks right now it looks like an old time movie. Black and whites. Or like you're painting stone figures.
Yeah, it's sculptures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does break my heart a little bit. So a show that I like is Mystery Science Theater 3000, and they basically get on and riff old movies. And one of the things that they haven't been able to do in some of their newer ones is do black and white movies, because people don't engage it, and so I mean, so in some degrees it's like, oh well, it's not surprised if people don't care too much about this part of the process, because
Color is exciting.
yeah. So it was just sad for them. They were not allowed. Well, not that they weren't allowed, but it was just
They
like,
wanted to get views.
yeah, they wanted to get more views. They had to they had to riff films that's a pretty loose term there, film, for some of these things that they make fun of. And so it's fun to begin to add some of these darks in this area, just like we did down here, putting those darks and lights in, then this sort of formless drawing then starts to hold space. And to me, in this realm, this is where this is the best, where you're like, okay, yeah, I start to see it happening. It's very exciting. So if you are joining us just now, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I'm building up the underlayers of the painting. As I was just saying moments ago, not necessarily the most exciting part of painting, but a very necessary piece of the puzzle if you want to achieve some of the unique effects of oil painting. It just doesn't happen by applying color directly on top, although you can do some really great things with oil and alla prima methods, but doing the indirect method, allowing the layers to show through, creates for some amazing skin tones and just other great volumetric effects. I heard the yelling of names.
Anadon says, more killer clowns from outer space and less Plan 9 from outer space. I think that's into the
The black and white and color conversation? Is that what we're talking about? Or Mystery Science Theater? I don't know.
Only at 2.
22. Okay. Handling it. All right, Sean, you can go to the. I think it should be in my history there. I was on it on my phone, so I think it would have. Maybe it might have been through Gmail and not through Chrome. But see if you can look through the history. See if you can find. I think it was Catholic Art Institute. So much of the things that I find out about, I'm just really bad at looking them up or even discovering opportunities. And a lot of the things that I've won or been introduced to are just kind people just thinking about me, and I can't take a lot of credit for things like the Portrait Society of America. You know, I didn't know those organizations existed when I first started painting and doing shows, and I was just making the work I wanted to make, and people will say, well, are you involved in this, or are you involved in this organization? And I'd be like, well, I'm not. I've not heard about this. And so that would educate me. So we got an email for someone recommending some of my work for, there's kind of a call for art, call for sacred art.
Sacred Art Prize 2021.
Yeah. I don't know much of the details about it, but it was shared to me, and so I want to kind of learn more, see what we can.
Evident mastery of the artist medium employed, meeting high standards in the fundamental facets of the artistic craft, including mature competency in the use of the human figure. Content represents biblical or ecclesiastical subjects suitable for pious, devotional, and or liturgical use, while demonstrating knowledge and continuity of historical artistic practices in the Catholic tradition.
That feels right up your alley.
So let's why don't you go ahead and start that process, Sean? I think that they have I don't remember, but we've got a lot of pieces. I did read over it, kind of what's required. So I think I have quite a few pieces that we could enter into that. But the only thing I didn't see was a deadline. I could not find a deadline or. Just feel free to go ahead and start filling it out, seeing what they require as far as images. Going into my portfolio of works, they said within the last 10 years. I think there's an option for up to 5 images or something like that.
Yep.
You know, I've got quite a few that we could enter. So I think the application fees are reasonable, and so we can been wanting to be more and more involved. Some deep dark reds here that I'm debating on how I want to block. Just they're not as dark as the areas here, but I'm trying to decide, am I just going to use, I know I'm starting to get into a little more color, but that's fine too on these layers. These layers don't have to be, you know, absolutely value scales. You know, you can certainly use other color along with. But need to mix more black. Burnt sienna, ultramarine blue.
Anna says, I hope you do something with that. Catholic devotional arts is largely not recovered from the 60s. There's Nielsen, Carlin, and that's about it for art. That's not horrible coloring book / ex-hippie. Garbage style, in my humble but accurate opinion, as a Catholic artist.
I think there's one thing we can all agree on is, wow, there's just a lot of poor, well, there's just a lot of, it's just really done poorly. So, I don't know. That's one of the reasons I believe I'm called to what I'm called to, is to create work that is, that kind of rises above that and hopefully really communicates today, you know. It's not overly sentimental, you know. I mean, the sentimentality is good, but oftentimes there's too much of it, and you get kind of caught in, yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to communicate because I will end up saying something I don't mean to say, but yeah, it's just too much. Too much of trying to. It's like avoiding the careful balance of hope. And fallenness, and redemption, and all of those things kind of come into play, and doing that in ways that are both accessible and honest, is just rare. It's one of the things that I like about the light with which I try to work in is it brings that drama visually, and
If you want to do obedience, indulgence, and absent,
probably not that one. I don't know. I think definitely struggling sailor, sleeping savior.
yeah.
I think definitely take heart, daughter. I think
Hold on a minute.
I think definitely hope and more the material. That's probably getting a little off their radar a little bit, but I think if they, if they can read into it, then I think.
So you need one more.
I do have Agony in the Garden.
Yeah, I saw that one. I was thinking about that one.
I think those are my most recent. I mean, we could do Come Forth too, for that matter. So
We've got SSSS, struggling sailor, sleeping savior, hope, take heart, daughter, more than material, and agony in the garden.
is there 5? Is that what they limit it to? 5 is the most you can do.
Yep. Oh, come forth the Davids.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to do that instead of agony in the garden?
I don't know.
I definitely think it's more impressive.
We'll ask Anna. Anna, which one should we do?
Does she know your work?
I think. Anna, do you follow on Facebook or Instagram?
While we wait to hear from her, I'm going to start sizing those images.
Thanks. And again, there may be some that are already sized in some of those folders that are like Igor, and there's a few folders there inside picture, inside a portfolio of works.
Yeah, we have hope and more than material.
Some of them are kind of already sized and ready to go, or will be close anyway. And feel free to just edit those.
1200 to 1500.
A lot of times you have to. I mean, I think I did notice you have to name the file a certain name.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all things you got to pay a bit close attention to. If you don't do those things, they basically throw it out because like they're looking for reasons to throw it out. Just organizations in general, because there's usually so many submissions.
She said she's gonna switch over to computer and go to Facebook.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So what were the 2 paintings again? Come Forth and...
Come Forth.
And agony in the garden.
Yeah, Come Forth is the Lazarus painting.
And then Agony in the Garden is...
Agony in the Garden is very literal.
Is that where the cup is? Like
Yeah. And so...
I mean... I like Come Forth.
that's funny because he's in it. Or that's why we're laughing anyway. I like it too. I mean, that's where it is. That's the sweet spot for me. It's like, how can I tell these stories in a way that's relevant, that doesn't run people out of the room, but allows for good communication, powerful imagery.
asked her if I could use their land for a picnic in September. And he's like, as long as you don't hide anything in poison ivy. I was like, oh yeah, that would be very unfortunate.
Yes.
Tons of kids in poison ivy. We would never throw an event again.
We know how to effectively get it off, as long as you know. If you don't know and it just stays on, I mean, you can't. If you get it off quickly, there's some good methods.
We just really wanted to make September full of events for everybody. Birthday parties, weddings, bachelor parties, showers.
I mean, it's happening.
And so we wanted to just put this picnic right in the middle.
Because Sean's getting married too.
She said, yes on come forth and more than material, still looking.
Thanks.
Whoop whoop. The Davids are in.
Where's the best come forth?
I think it's in. I think I do have a size because I entered that one into competition. So
It's not an Igor.
there's a couple more folders like that in there, in that space. They're just. Yeah, that could be an old one. So I mean, there's.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to resize that one. This one's.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you get the 2.0 and not the old one. The one.
Sleeping, or yeah, struggling sailor, sleeping savior. She wants.
Yeah, yeah. I like it.
This one was 2020, 11/6 of 2020.
Yep, that should be right. As long as it has the moth, the phoenix.
The extra cloth in the background.
Yeah.
$1,500 by 1,000, so that's good.
So blocking in, blocking in. This is quite the process. Did you see a deadline anywhere on there, Sean?
But I'm pretty sure it's still open. As long as put it in there.
So anyway, those are always nice. They're good recommendations. And Anna, you said did you have another recommendation?
I'm gonna toss my hat in the ring for conversion of St. Paul or take Heart Daughter.
Yeah, so conversion of St. Paul is older than 10 years. So
That was you falling out of the car.
yeah, which 100% I like. I'm with you. That's one of my favorite pieces of all time. Yeah, so I couldn't include that one. But we could definitely do Take Heart Daughter. And
Take Heart Daughter. Is that in Portfolio Works?
Yep. Actually, you know what? I believe that falls. There's some other like low res, high res folders in there because that one I got super professionally documented by a friend of mine who I wish was still here.
I found it in low res.
Okay, there'll be a corresponding. There also might be a section wood paintings or something down at the bottom, down in like the just Portfolio Works file in general, entitled something like that. It's in there. There's a larger one there to be able to size down. Or if you even went in, well, that's probably not as good. Take it back. It's a thing that happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you should just get out of there.
Okay. Was it doing this because of that being okay? Yeah. Okay.
So it is saying that about every single
File that is that, yeah. Yeah, it will.
That it lasted forever.
Retreat. So I wanted a little bit lighter of a value here, so I just thought I would use a wash. Then, because I still needed to darken it, but I just wanted to do so just slightly. Try not to lose my drawing on my hand. That can happen.
Time of robe and take card dot are different, right?
No, that's the same thing.
He's a little bit bigger, 1920 by 960. Still gonna have to scale that down, so. And then see if this will work. It's that one. Desktop. Take cart daughter. Now we just need SSSS.
That's gonna be a hard one. So for this format,
Yeah.
just that it'll be a big of each.
Well, even I mean, when you usually these are looked at like on projectors and things, and even on a projector you don't need a lot of resolution. I'm amazed at what works. almost 4 o'clock. So I've got about 30 more minutes today before it's my turn to be a dad. Take over the kid watch. So my wife can go teach yoga. So my time is coming swiftly. And Anna, thanks again for the input on the images. Really appreciate that. Okay, so here's where we come to, I mean, just a reality of working at all, right? I've got 30 minutes left. You know, what gets the attention in that time? I might be able to establish some of the darker values in here, up here, so that that's ready to go. Most likely, it'd be nice if I got the lilies too. Got a few other elements that still need attention, but we're getting close. So, bye, David. Say bye, David.
Bye, David.
Bye, David. Thanks for being here.
Was come forth oil and canvas?
Linen.
How much did you sell it for?
If you go into my Squarespace, you can see all of that. Or if you log into Square.
Gonna send you a text.
It's been 30 days. Still hasn't. Okay, it did.
He's gonna send you another one, but don't forget about it. Or just forget about it. I don't know why I decided to do that again. sell it in 2020?
Yeah. You're not gonna look at sales. You're gonna look at items, inventory.
Okay. So what's in here is how much you sold it for? In the item?
I mean, give or take.
Okay. I think, yeah, that would be fine.
I don't know that they.
Yeah, really need the exact one. And 2 is hope. Oil on linen. Media. What was the? Do you have the size?
Yeah, 24 by 30. No, if you're talking about the other one, it's 32 by 50 on Come Forth.
Yep.
Right.
The only hope ones you have on here are hope framed for 150.
Yeah, those are prints. I would say enter the next thing if you can.
Okay. What size was hope?
24 by 30.
It's not on here either, so wait. What was the size of one of the material?
32 by 44.
Struggling sailor, sleeping savior, oil on linen. It's not on here either.
Yeah, the older works won't be. But
What's the size of that one? Do you know that off the top of your head?
24 by 48, essentially. It's 2 images, so it's complicated.
Take heart. Is it take heart, comma daughter, or just take heart daughter?
Take our daughter.
Oil on linen. None of it either. What size was that? Do you know?
That was also 24 by 48.
Okay. Never mind. None of these are for sale, so.
Right. I was like, kind of surprised at the question. All right, that's pretty good there. 20 minutes. Get some lilies in here. I don't know if the lilies are in view. Maybe, kind of, sort of.
Alright, so which
Sean, are the lilies in view?
lilies? Oh, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Do you want to do the 1 to 3 entries, or? Well, I guess you have.
I've got 5. What do they allow?
They allow 5.
Okay, they allow 5.
So is it $45 for the 1 to 3, or is it $45 for 1, 2, and 3? Because it says 45 for 1-3 entries.
Yeah, so that just sounds like if you want to enter it all, even if it's only one piece.
It's 45.
Yeah, it's 45.
Okay.
That's what I understand. So.
So it's 45, 60, 75. $75. What does it mean by portrayals of non-canonized persons as saints? Like, you make someone else a saint?
Yeah.
You basically make your own saint?
I think so. That would probably be a great question for Anna.
Hey, Anna, so on this competition, it says subjects will not be considered include copies of existing works, portrayals of non-canonized persons as saints, portraits of living clergy or religious works which are only recognizably religious from their titles, scenes of the exterior or interior of churches. So, since in those paintings, Vince painted people he knew.
Well, they were the models.
Yeah.
The scene is the the biblical narrative.
Yeah.
So what I take that to mean is, like, have you made somebody a saint who is not a saint? That's what I take it as. Then obviously we're not going to allow that.
Put everything back in again. It's more than material, right? THAN?
Yes.
Okay. She says, right, you can't paint someone, I guess, pretending they're a saint. Like, no Saint Homer Simpson or Saint Oprah.
Yep.
A model portraying a canonized, officially recognized saint is fine.
Okay. Thanks for that verification. Appreciate that.
I consent for my artwork and notes. Consent for my artwork images to be published on Catholic Art Institute. Social media platforms and website. Instagram account. Instagram.com/EVWIII. Alright, I need the sizes again, sorry. What's come
That's all
forth?
32 by 50.
50. Hope.
24 by 30.
More the material.
32 by 44.
Struggling sailor, sleeping savior.
24 by 48.
And take heart daughter.
Yeah, same 24 by 48.
Everything is under 1 megabyte. It can be no larger than 2 megabytes, so that's fine. You want to pay PayPal?
Card is fine.
One.
Actually, Sean, just let me. I'll be done in 10 minutes, and I can finalize all that.
Okay, so I'll wait till Saturday.
All right, wrapping up the day. Whew.
That was a big day.
Yeah, made some good ground. Today was good. Satisfying day, but I'm entering. Talked about it a little bit. Maybe yesterday. Just entering the what I call the dark place, where you've spent a lot of time on it, and you haven't really gotten there yet. So there's not that part that just you really love, or even the overall vision of what it's going to be. I've got my sketch that I'm working from, but at the same time, it's not the painting. And so the painting is not far enough done to really begin to feel satisfied. It starts to feel like, I put in this effort and nothing has happened. So that's usually the biggest battle for me every time, is this kind of moment that comes. So you get to be there, front row seat, for that. But there's an interesting thing that happens just on the other side of all of this. So I do enough, and when it starts to get nearing finish, there's this wave of energy, as it's finally like, I can see what this was always meant to be. And that's always a really exciting time. Those are the days that, where I left to my own. Occasionally I am, that I could, paint well into the evening, basically until I have no more daylight. So that's coming too. When I get excited, start to see the whole. It's even fun just to see a little bit more happen with like the lily. Some of those parts are really fun. It's like, oh yeah, that does kind of look like it's supposed to. Okay. That's about it for today. Usually like a little more of a clear stopping point, but so hoping for complete finish today. Didn't quite get there of the underpainting. Came close. I do kind of set daily goals. I think that's good. Realistic goals. You know, thinking, okay, yeah, I could probably get about this far today. So definitely set those for yourself each day when you're working. I'd like to see this much done. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to say for now, for today, we're done.
We did it!
Thanks again very much for being here. Thank you, Anna, Barack, those who came in to say hi, and keep this thing rolling. We'll see what comes in the next few days. I mean, I think if I can get this many hours in each day, we'll all be surprised at how much gets accomplished before Friday. So
It's gonna be great.
appreciate you being here. Thank you, and God bless.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Bye.